Welcome back to Warrior Rising Founder Spotlights, when we check in with our veteran entrepreneurs who have turned early support into long-term success for their businesses. So today, we are highlighting a rising force in the financial world, and that is Alex McCleod. She is the founder of Parlay Finance and is one of our standout alumni from a while ago. So she's not just building a business, she is reshaping how people think about money, their planning, and their purpose. So Alex, thank you so much for being here.
It is great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So, first off, can you please just reintroduce yourself to everyone listening and just tell us a little bit about Parlay Fitness and how it came to life?
Yes. So Parlay Finance is a fintech. We work with banks, credit unions, and financial institutions across the country to help get more small businesses approved for loans. So our system
Yeah.
uses AI in essence to make the process of applying simpler. We
Yeah.
educate the small business in that process so that they're more likely to get a yes on the other side. And we help make that process more efficient for the lender so that they can actually help and serve more small businesses. And as a back context, I am a military spouse. I have two
Yeah.
military veteran co-founders. And yeah, I think 90+% of our team is actually military veterans at this point.
That's really awesome to hear. It's like that give back. And we talk about that a lot. When you hire one veteran or have a veteran on your team, they're more likely to hire so many more. So that's really
Absolutely.
cool. So, do you serve a specific demographic or do you have a target audience?
We work with lenders who offer small business loans. So that can be for normal things like if you're a small business and you need to buy some equipment or you need a
Yeah.
working capital loan, but we do have a specialization in SBA loans,
Oh, cool.
which are used really commonly by entrepreneurs that are looking to buy a business. So, entrepreneurship through acquisition, which is something that a lot of veterans look
Yeah.
into when they're transitioning and leaving the military. We specialize in that. And we work with the top lenders in America that do that type of entrepreneurship through acquisition loan, many of
Yeah.
which end up under the SBA program. And so, we do have a niche in that space.
Awesome. Yeah. And that's incredibly important, which is why we always tend to stay connected with you as well, with our entrepreneurs and, forwarding them or paying it forward, I guess, in a way to Parlay because it makes sense. So, with being in the financial, or you can say the money industry, what
Mhm.
is like one money myth that you are determined to break in this industry?
Oh gosh, there are so many. I think there are two core things that
Mhm.
I really want to break and change. One
Yeah.
is the current process for applying for a loan, if you're a small business or an entrepreneur looking to buy a business, is incredibly binary.
Yeah.
You basically you're getting assessed. You go up to bat. You bring all your documents, all your information,
Yeah.
and you get a really binary outcome. Either it's a yes, you are getting approved for a loan,
Mhm.
or it is a no, you are not getting approved for a loan.
Yeah.
And the majority of the time, it is a no. And there really isn't a better alternative. And so I spend a lot of my time helping lenders understand that there's
Yeah.
more than just those two options on the table. There's a lot of work that goes into that. Like lenders have to be able to account for risk. They can't do loans that ultimately will go bad because that would harm their ability to help
Yeah.
more small businesses in the future. So it's a really delicate balance. So that's one myth. And our system basically helps educate small businesses so that they can understand in advance of doing that
Yeah.
paperwork, like where they stand and what
Mhm.
they could improve. It's kind of like instead of going up for a CrossFit like competition, you've got some training reps. That's really how I
Yeah.
think about our process. Let's make it
Okay.
clear up front what success means
Yeah.
and give you the opportunity to spend some time gathering the docs, being ready, thinking through the current barriers that might be in your way. And so for the small business,
Yeah.
demystifying, you can't just apply and get money right now. Sometimes you can, but often you need to do some work up front. And how we do that is a myth that I'm constantly working with lenders and small businesses on. And then the other one is there's a widespread conception in the small business, like banking and credit union space, that lending to small businesses is risky. And
Mm.
it is true that there is risk associated with any lending decision.
Yeah.
But we have a chicken and egg problem in that space where small business lenders aren't lending because they don't have enough historical data to basically assess that risk well enough to do it more. And so you end up in this problem where they don't have enough data to lend more, so they don't lend more.
Yeah.
But because they're not lending more, they don't have the data that they can then learn from. And so we end up in this kind of standoff.
Yeah.
that prevents more small businesses from getting the resources they need, more
Wow.
entrepreneurs from getting the funding that they're looking for. And so we're also trying to help lenders break that binary and think about it differently by giving them more information to make better risk adjusted decisions with.
Yeah, no, that's incredible. And it's really empowering to hear, I'm sure, as a small business that there's hope out there. And I do remember,
Yes.
so like during the Military Influencer Conference last year, so 2024, I remember you and Jay sitting on a panel and you
Mhm.
talked about taking hundreds or thousands, I don't remember exactly, of no's. So for our audience here, if they're just starting out, or maybe it's on the finance side, maybe they're having trouble finding a loan. Walk us through that story because I thought it was really empowering.
Yeah. So, within the process of applying for a loan, if you're a small business, if you just step up to bat without doing all that work, you're probably not ready at the point in time where you decide that you need the funding. There's usually a
Yeah,
gap. And this really happens a lot for not just military veterans, but a lot of military veteran business owners or entrepreneurs do end up in this challenge because when you're being evaluated by a lender, you're being evaluated against a number of criteria. Character, what's your
yeah,
kind of background look like? How have you behaved
yeah,
during that process? What is your credit background? So you as the individual, your credit history is evaluated as part of a small business loan application. What is your capacity? If you're asking for a certain amount of money, are you likely to repay it? Is this something that's way out of your reach, or is it manageable and reasonable based on the amount of money that you currently make? And so all of that has to be packaged up in a way that makes it likely for you to get that yes on the other side. And a lot of small businesses and entrepreneurs just don't recognize that that's the
yeah,
work that comes with this. And so they get a no and then they just get turned away or they get discouraged and they leave because they're not given an actionable pathway to getting to that yes.
yeah.
And so what we do in our system is we give the small business at the point of inquiry an insight into what it takes to get to a yes, so that instead of a no, they get a not yet. But also, our system is scanning for all of the possible products that small business could be eligible for at the bank, so that instead of Alex asking Alyssa for one specific loan
Yeah.
product or one specific thing, I am being evaluated against the whole suite of things Alyssa could match me to,
Okay.
so that we get that better fit on.
Yeah, almost like a blueprint or a checklist for them or something. That's awesome.
Yes, on
Lead with
steroids.
something. Yeah,
On
on
steroids.
steroids.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome. I mean, technology is great. It really it's really amazing. Kind of walk us through when did you go through Warrior Rising? What's your experience with this organization? Because I know you've served as a judge as well a few times, maybe. So if you
Yeah.
could talk us about that experience.
Yeah, so my co-founder Jay actually went through the Warrior Academy, and we've been involved in the cohorts
Yeah,
as alumni as well on the other
yeah,
side. So I feel like we really got the whole experience of Warrior
yeah,
Rising. And what I really love about the program is that from day one, you have a blueprint. To use your words, you have a blueprint. If you're starting with an idea, there is a guide, a boot camp for you to get going. And if you follow that training and that guidance, we're going to get you to the next milestone, to the next base camp, right? And
yeah,
I think about capital access as this long, it's basically Everest. You're going to
yeah,
get to that yes on your loan, but there are lots of different things you need to do before you can climb all the way to the top. And there are base camps along the way that you can get to. And
yeah,
so, it's not just about okay, I need to make this specific metric. It's how do I get there? With who, and who can help me kind of learn along the way. And I think that Warrior Rising does an amazing job wrapping all of those things into the program and process of being part of that cohort. And that's why
yeah,
we love it. And that's why we're still around trying to help
yeah.
now that we got to the other side of that summit.
Yeah, that's awesome. So the last question I will leave you with is what does it mean to have someone or an organization or whatever you want to call it believe in your vision before it's fully realized?
Yeah. Uh huh. It is, I mean, I there's an amazing quote that I've forgotten the author of right now, but it
Yeah.
basically says that hope is adversarial. People think about cynicism as this like, oh, you can just fall back on it and it's easy, right?
Yeah.
But hope requires so much fight, and it's
Yeah.
adversarial and it's counterintuitive and it makes these huge demands on you. And when you are starting a business, you feel like you're by yourself on an
Yeah.
island. You're the only one with hope. And so to have people believe in you when you're at that really fragile, like early state,
Yeah.
not many people except you believe it's completely life changing. And yeah, that's what Warrior Rising does for transitioning veterans. And we could not be more supportive of the awesome, awesome work that you guys do.
I just wanted to thank you for taking the time to talk with us, Alex. It's always a pleasure. You know that you can always come on. We're always here to share all the awesome success stories. I know there's been, so many pillars and so many phases of what you guys are doing, which is really
So
great.
many
But
steps, and
yeah,
we could not walk them by ourselves.
yeah,
It was being part of the Warrior Rising community
yeah,
that got us where we went.
yeah,
You can go fast alone, but if you want to go far, you need to go with your community and your tribe.
together.
And that's what Warrior Rising does for the veteran community.
Awesome. I love hearing that. And we're a very synergistic group of people, which I love. I love seeing repeat people. I'm like, that's good. That's a good thing.
It is
Awesome.
good. It's a
Yeah.
strong community.
It
Absolutely.
is. It really it's a forever community. So it's awesome that they'll have your back even after the end. So again, thank you so much, Alex. We're gonna see you on the other side, probably at an event. I'm sure. I'm sure of it. But
Probably. Yeah.
yeah, for everyone else listening, we will have the details for Parlay Fitness. It's all our fitness, finance. Think of fitness. I got to go to the
It
gym.
involves a type of fitness, so you're not.
Yeah, mental fitness,
Yeah.
financial money fitness, but
Yeah.
Parlay, all the website details and everything will be in the YouTube description and everywhere else. So you will be able to get into contact and learn more about their business. For everyone listening, thank you so much for being here. We'll see you next time. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss another founder spotlight. We'll see you guys next time.
Thank you.